da 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 da. Da 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 da. Thank you, Luke Vibert. Thank you for being here, anonymous viewers. God bless you. This is a live stream. It's Sunday, December 8th. And the Empire is victorious this evening. Things are going according to plan if you are the mostest importantest country in the world. We know who that is. These guys know who that is. Let's see if I can play this without getting booted off the air. Let's just maybe try and play 2 minutes of it. This is an SNL skit that did not make the cut. And it's probably because of the content, but the first 2.5 minutes are pretty awful. But here it is.
The chair recognizes the junior senator from South Carolina, Mr. Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I ask my colleagues to forgive me because the subject of Israel is a very emotional one for me. As an African-American Republican from South Carolina, love of Israel is in my blood. I'm sorry. I just love that little country so much. The people of Israel are the warmest, the most generous, kindest, gentlest, the most self-effacing.
Really?
Easygoing people on God's green earth. Israel has the best food.
What?
Did you do that for Israel?
Senator, with all due respect, why would the security of Israel
Excuse me, Senator, if it's all right with you, I'll ask the questions here. Now remember, the survival of Israel is at stake. Would you fillet that donkey?
I don't think so.
Then I regret to say, Senator, I cannot support your confirmation.
Hey, I do it for Israel. Bring me.
Only slightly more ridiculous than the actual Chuck Hagel hearings. Yeah. Who's out there? Say hello if you're out there. All right, so Syria has fallen to a coalition of rebels. ISIS, something called HTS or whatever the hell they're calling themselves, and some Kurds, and there's some, I hear there's some Chinese Uyghurs in there, and they're already turning on each other, but the news is presenting it as a straight up victory for goodness and light, and that the awful Assad has been deposed, and that Syrians, just all of them, I guess, are celebrating in the streets tonight, and the jails are being emptied.
They are excited to return back home. Yeah, so you can see.
This is an Al Jazeera reporter trying to do a report from the ground. Yeah.
We are not terrorists, we are civilians.
This is going to be fine. Yeah. This is so heartening, and this is like I'm moved in the same way as when I watch, puppies and kittens playing together on YouTube videos.
Okay. We are returning to Syria.
And who are these guys?
You can see people are excited. Many of these people have been here for years. Exiled. Okay. Okay, I think you'll come back to us later.
Yeah, we'll try and come back to a little bit later, Zain. Obviously, people extremely emotional there on the border. Many Syrians, as Zain Ahod has been showing us there, who are quite emotional about events unfolding inside their country, the fall of the Assad regime.
Yeah, so that's it.
We are in the center of Damascus. I'm wearing
Here's the same lady.
gunfire, celebratory gunfire. People are on the streets celebrating their new reality, the new Syria. We're going to try to show you as much as we can of the Syrian capital. Let me tell you where we are. This is the Umayyad Square. This is the center of the Syrian capital. And this is the Syrian state TV and radio, which is now under the control of the opposition. People are there's a lot of celebratory gunfire. That's why we're wearing this helmet. But yes, we are in Damascus. We are in the Syrian state TV building. You can hear a lot of gunfire. People celebrating.
Oh, I'm just sure everything's going to be
Syria
great
State Television. There's nobody here. Everyone's left. The Syrian regime controlled the narrative. There was no free press in this country. We're now inside the studios of Syria State Television. As you can see, the Syrian opposition flag, the new flag of Syria a short while ago. This is from where
Looks like the old
rebels
flag
made
to me.
the announcement that Syria is now no longer under the control of Bashar al-Assad's regime. We are now at one of the presidential palaces in Damascus. It was known as the People's Palace, but now what we are seeing is people coming to see. This was Bashar al-Assad used to receive his.
Yeah, so, it's all very, very shady. This has happened over, less than a week, guys, right? We heard just a couple of days ago, it seemed. How many days was it? 2, 3 days ago. They took Aleppo, which is like the second biggest city, and it's an industrial hub. So they took it all of a sudden out of the blue. This civil war has been in effect for 11 years, and it's been stalemated with the CIA-backed coalition of rebels, ISIS, Takfiris, other radical elements, and some genuine Syrian opposition, I'm sure, all holding parts of the, I guess, the eastern part of the country. And then all of a sudden they're taking Aleppo. And this was very strange because it happened right after Assad went to Russia. And people are speculating that Russia cut him loose because Russia and Iran were his most important supporters. Russia's intervention at some point during all this. Assad, they thought they were going to be rid of Assad during the Obama administration. You recall, they were talking about how he has to go over and over again. He has to go. One watching, fuck this. Fuck this. One person watching. They're talking about how he has to go. And is this thing on? Let's see. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Kyle, see, I don't know you, unless you're under a new name. If you've assumed a new name, I guess so. There's the Syrian prime minister basically surrendering. Yeah, so it's curious that Assad visited Russia, and then things started falling apart. It may be that Russia could not support him anymore, but Russia did, after the takeover of Aleppo, jump in and start supporting him with some air support, started bombing some of the rebel positions. But then, the reason this went so fast, it appears, is because the troops, the Syrian troops, Syrian government troops, Assad's guys, were called away. They were told to give up and to basically to run away, to retreat before even engaging. And that's why this is all. I was watching some video of this earlier, and the rebels, I mean, they're just they're in regular cars. There's ISIS, there's one faction. And most of them are driving cars, like civilian cars. Not even like that cool Toyota, what do they call that? When you get the Toyota pickup with the machine gun in the back. Mostly they were just in cars and stuff, and they didn't really look like a formidable force. And the Syrians just basically gave up. And the Russians, of course, were seen bailing out themselves. I guess it was just yesterday. People spotted the Russian artillery making a beeline out of town because the Syrian troops were called off and Syria wasn't fighting. And supposedly the same thing happened with Iran, that they bailed out when they saw that Syrian troops weren't going to fight, and nobody wanted to be there fighting on behalf of Syria if Syria wasn't going to be fighting on behalf of Syria. And then, of course, Assad tries to make his escape in an airplane, and they're suggesting that he was shot down because the plane was tracked, making a sudden descent somewhere off in the middle of nowhere. And they thought, they either had engine trouble or more likely they were shot down and Assad's dead. But now we know that he is safe. And I mean, I'm glad, honestly. I'm just, I don't really care one way or the other. I believe it's quite silly to get involved in these things and root for one side or the other. But I know this is ultimately an Israeli project. And so I just root against Israel because Israel's evil and needs to be thwarted wherever it can be. Assad has bravely held on for 11 years. But, oh God, here we go. And so here's this ghoul is happy.
Regime, the tyranny, and this is a historic day for the Middle East. The collapse of the Assad regime, the tyranny in Damascus, offers great opportunity, but also is fraught with significant dangers.
Yeah, and this is the line that Israel started promoting. Just everything is so. I mean, it's just so obvious that this move, and you might think, oh gosh, they're doing it before Trump takes office. Sort of in the same way that they're dumping more money into Ukraine, and they're trying to push the Ukraine conflict to a point where Trump will have difficulty unwinding it if he so desires. And some people think that's what's happening here, but I don't think so. I think Trump is very much on page with these people in this particular conflict, because this is an Israel conflict. And it was just a week ago, Israel, through the Jerusalem Post, or one of the more conservative right-wing Israeli papers, they were already ceding the ground, and they've already taken over some territory in Syria. And people are saying now the plan is for Israel now, to take over the Golan Heights and a big part of Syria. And to do this, they have to do what Benjamin's going to say right now. They have to present it as defensive. Because look, all these Takfiris, ISIS has taken over Syria, right? And they're counting on, and it's not a bad bet, they're counting on the stupidity of the American public and others in the West to immediately pivot from, this is the glorious rebels, booting the awful dictator out of town. They're going to pivot from that to immediately Syria is a terrorist wasteland, and Israel has to protect itself by taking over huge swaths of southern Syria. Which of course falls in line with the Greater Israel Project. And they were seeding this 1 or 2 weeks ago in the Jerusalem Post and elsewhere. The stories were an unnamed Israeli official, high-ranking official or general or somebody is saying, we're worried about Syria and we're worried about the terrorists in Syria, and we're watching this very carefully. So anyway, it's all set up, and Israel has already started grabbing land, and that's one of the biggest reasons for this, that alone. And I think, like I said, they're just Trump is on board, but this also makes it so that he can't not get on board. It's going to be very difficult for Trump to try and slow them down now, even if he wants to, and I don't think he wants to.
This collapse is a direct result of our forceful action against Hezbollah in Iran.
And of course, you notice they did the ceasefire deal with Hezbollah just a couple of weeks ago in preparation for this.
Assad's main supporters. It set off a chain reaction of all those who want to free themselves from this tyranny and its oppression. But it also means we have to take action against possible threats.
Yeah.
One of them is the collapse of the Separation of Forces Agreement from 1974 between Israel and Syria. This agreement held for 50 years. Last night it collapsed. The Syrian army abandoned its positions. We gave the Israeli army the order to take over these positions to ensure that no hostile force embeds itself right next to the border of Israel. This is a temporary defensive position until a suitable arrangement is found. Equally, we send a hand of peace to all those beyond our border in Syria, to the Druze, to the Kurds, to the Christians, and to the Muslims who want to live in peace with Israel. We're going to follow events very carefully. If we can establish neighborly relations and a peaceful relations with the new forces emerging in Syria, that's our desire. But if we do not, we'll do whatever it takes to defend the state of Israel and the border of Israel.
Gee, I wonder what's going to happen. Yeah. So there you have it, and that's where this is at. Yeah, this is fine. No, this is great. Just remember how well Libya went, guys. Only this is Libya, but it's right smack dab in the middle of the Israel conflict. Yeah, we're going to put the beachfront housing right there. Yeah. He credits the IDF. They're going to take credit. All right.
This is a historic day for
Yeah, we heard it. We heard
The
you.
UN's envoy to Syria has called for urgent talks in Geneva to ensure an orderly transition. Georg Pedersen sat down with Al Jazeera's diplomatic editor James Bays on the sidelines of the Doha.
You know, it's funny, I gotta go to Al Jazeera whenever I want to get anything worth a damn. Yeah, I don't like these news reports where they don't talk. They just give you that loud music, dun 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 dun, and then they throw some cry on, some word on there. All right, there's a bunch of you out there. Not a bunch of you. 6 people. Yeah. And I think it's actually got a lot to do with Haktua's coin. Haktua's meme coin. Apparently Haktua launched a meme coin and instantly rug pulled it, as they say. They get a bunch of people to run in, to fall in there and buy it up. And then the core of people behind the scam, I guess, I guess they just let the price get up high enough, and they quickly take their profits by selling out. And somehow they managed to run the thing up to, you know, 200 million or something, and then they pulled the rug out from under it, and it went down to like 2 million. And everybody lost their money. And I don't even understand how these damn meme coins work. I mean, you got to be a fucking idiot, right? But here's Hawk Tua. You know, look at this. This is funny. So here's Hawk Tua. She goes on Bill Maher. I hadn't even heard her voice till just now. I went and I said, I watched the stupid video. When I heard her, the Hawk Tua, I knew exactly what it was. It's sad that I knew exactly what the hell she said. Hawk Tua. Yeah, okay. By the way, which is a repulsive practice, women. I know there are no women out there. Some of you may suck, though. But no, seriously, I don't know. Speaking for myself, I think spitting on it is just disrespectful. I don't see anything attractive about spitting on any part of me, especially that. I mean, you know.
Well, thanks for coming.
This is funny, though, because she's on Bill Maher, and Bill Maher's a creep. We all know that. He kind of revels in being a creep.
Nice to meet you.
Watch. And there he is, right? And this is what we get.
I'm good. How are you?
And this is the picture we get. This is where I froze the frame. And there she is. She's looking up. She's known for giving blowjobs. But you know what? As somebody said, you know, somebody called her out. He said, you think at this point some guy would have come forward to boast that he had actually got oral from Hawk Tua? You know, she might not even do that. But here it is. She's looking up, and on the edge of my screen, can you see this? Is this registering? There's Bill's, you know, like the side of his thigh, and his hand is there. It's as if he's opening his fly.
Well, thanks for
Very
coming.
creepy.
Thank you for having me.
I'm sure you should be nervous, but you don't seem like you are.
You should be nervous meeting a big star like me, honey.
You shouldn't be. You're gonna have the best time.
I'll try.
Well, you're 21?
Yep.
Okay, so...
She's got a terrible voice, by the way. She's cute. I think she's quite cute, and I can see why guys think she's nice. I mean, you know, like somebody said, she's like he said 8. I wouldn't say she's an 8, but she's like a 7, you know, that you think you could get with, who's quite cute, you know. But frankly, sitting here in this whole setup is so creepy because she looks like a little kid. Especially she's not that big. Maybe she's very petite, but she's so small of body. It looks like this little kid is sitting here, and there's Bill Maher, who's just known for being, you know,
it's a
creep.
Something extraordinary happened to you, and you have an extraordinary opportunity. And if you pay close attention today, you'll come out here
I'm gonna make
really
you
with a lot of
star.
knowledge of how to handle this, because it's very unique what happened.
God, can you believe that? He's already going right after her with, hey, listen to me, kid, I'll make you a star. I mean, we're like 2 minutes away from him actually getting up and opening his fly.
Two amazing things happened in the last month. There was an assassination attempt, and one brave billionaire's earlobe will never be the same.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Bless his heart.
That's idiotic.
And you. Two things that are like completely out of left field.
Really, Bill? There's only 2 significant things that have happened in this last month. Really? I mean, maybe in your fucking weird world, right? Where half of your life is Donald Trump, man, right? And the other half of your life is, you know, skeevy chicks, right? Jesus, this guy.
I mean, you must feel like, what was that bit somebody had about, like, you know, you ever see one of those little bugs that roll up when they feel, and then you...
Oh, the roly-polies?
Yeah, and then you, like, shoot them.
Yeah, you just, like, flick them real hard.
And must wake up, like, to them, like 1,000 miles away.
Yes.
It's kind of like what happened to you.
You're exactly right. You're exactly
that's
right.
what it feels like, right?
That's a good way to put it.
She looks like a little kid sitting there.
But,
This is so creepy. And there's Bill with his skinny old man
You, for
legs.
whatever reason, now I'm not a religious person. Maybe you are. That's what makes.
I guess he smokes pot on this show because that's so cool to smoke weed. But I don't think he's actually doing it this time. That would be nice. That would be, yeah. You know, Bill Maher draws the line.
It's a horse race. We're all different, but you seem nice. So like, we're all happy for you.
Well, thank you.
Like, you know, if you came off as some sort of an asshole, people would be like resenting.
Yeah.
You know, oh, why is she suddenly famous?
She's an asshole.
But you know, like every kid, especially your age, wants to be famous. And like
You want to
suddenly,
drink, kid?
the sword came down and tapped you on the shoulder again.
He said, "You're it."
Not from God, that doesn't really exist, but you make your own decisions. I'm not.
Oh my God, fuck. I've never watched one of these Bill Maher. I've only seen like clips, you know, when Bill says something stupid. But holy fuck, this guy, I mean, this poor girl, she's just like trying to get through this shit, I'm sure at this point. She's either an idiot or if she's kind of cool and, you know, like moderately normal, this is worse, right? But she has no idea, right? Like he's talking about God and, you know, we all know that's nonsense, but hey, man, it's cool if you believe. He's just, fuck. Bill Maher, fuck.
Gonna lead you astray to the dark side. And so it's like you.
But, you know, so funny, too, that he would be talking about God here when he's talking about the way he's talking about celebrity, right? Like, oh, yeah, you were knighted, right? Not by God, but by, you know, whatever, celebrity, which is bigger than God, right? You were knighted, you know, so he's got this whole positively mystical view of celebrity. And you're supposed to be kind of jaded at this point, having been famous for all this time.
You were given this amazing chip, and you can now trade that chip in. Fame is like a huge chip that you were just given. But
you've got a little chip here, honey, and if you just do what Uncle Bill says.
The key thing now is like, for what? Right?
Yeah, for what?
So this is why you should be
like,
listening
what?
very closely today.
What?
Because you're going to get a lot of good advice on that.
Okay.
I have a feeling. I don't know. I never know what I'm going to say because I'm always high when I do this.
I understand.
Well, you're 21, right? We can speak freely.
Fair.
And it's legal.
Yeah.
We're not doing anything wrong.
You're exactly right.
I would, of course,
this
advise all.
She's hardly said a word. She's hardly said a fucking word, right? He just like instantly, I mean, it's as if I'm going to go out there and make this kid uncomfortable, you know? It's legal, right? Yeah. 2 consenting adults, baby. It feels good, right? Nothing wrong with it. Like I said, God doesn't exist, so who...
Always
Jesus
using any
Christ.
sort of substance responsibly and in moderation. Do you do that?
Yeah, I'm pretty responsible with it.
Oh, God.
Well,
So he's asking this kid, right? Do you get high, kid? It's just so wrong.
sometimes, unless I'm at CMA Fest in Nashville.
Why? Is that where you said your thing?
Oh yeah, we're drinking all day long.
Okay. So here's the first thing.
You know, you think you would maybe ask her a little bit about that day. Hey, what happened out there, you know? But he's just blowing right past it.
Now that I think about it, that we have to do. What made you suddenly famous? Nothing to be ashamed of. But now we have to move past that.
I agree.
Haley. What's your last name?
Welch.
What's your last name, baby? Jesus Christ, he just comes in here drunk already now. That's what he's doing with these shows. He's high before he even sits down. Jesus, this is embarrassing. I'm embarrassed. I feel sympathy for Bill fucking Maher. right? It's just this is how it ends for him. It's like Hugh Hefner, right? When Hugh Hefner at the end, he's doing the reality show with his supposed 3 girlfriends, right? You know, and he's got that old person look with the gape. You know, he's being led around by these fucking these.
I knew that.
People.
I was testing you.
It's okay. I had to sound out your last name earlier.
I don't expect you to know me. Most of the country does, bitch. But no, I'm kidding. But you're young. You'll get there. That doesn't matter. What matters now is move past, let's call it your origin story. And it's very much like the Kardashians.
Mm-hmm.
You know origin story from comic books, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
God.
So what's the Kardashians' origin story?
They started out before all the plastic surgery and everything else, didn't they?
No, what's their origin
doesn't
story?
even know.
What put
Does
them
she
on the
know?
map?
I'm not up to trends. I had to figure out who you were today.
Oh, this is
I'm so
awesome.
serious.
I love it. Oh God, sweetheart, I hope that was intentional. I hope you didn't just. I didn't know who you were till 5 minutes ago, asshole. He's trying to get her to say too. You know, Kim Kardashian did a sex tape. She might not even know. I mean, there are kids out there
Yes, I don't keep up.
who follow the Kardashians, maybe who don't know. Maybe that's a good thing. Fuck, this guy is creepy though.
With
Oh,
anything.
you're 21. You're not supposed to.
Look at him.
I'd be
just...
disappointed if you did. But someday you will. Someday you'll be calling me and say, Bill, you know, I'm really getting caught up on the Middle East. Can you tell me? And I'll tell you. But
That's what you hope, right? He hopes that she's going to have some interest in these things that he thinks he's a sage regarding, right? Oh, let me tell you about the Middle East, honey.
but right now, no, it was a sex tape. You don't know?
It was Kim's, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you do know this.
Okay, I do know.
Okay.
I didn't know that's what like started it all for him, though.
Absolutely. And they're very nice people.
Oh yeah, I'm
Chris
sure.
has sat right in that seat. She's a, what?
She's been right here.
Many people have. Even people you know.
Let me tell you something, sweetheart. I'm a big deal.
But yes, they're wonderful people. They're just very nice. The only thing you can get them on is the Kardashian story. It's, you know, it's as if Spider-Man became Spider-Man because he blew a spider. You know.
What? Is that even a joke? I mean, blew a spider? I'm flashing back to the SNL bit. I mean, you know, it's a little spider. What the fuck, Bill?
The same thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, she can find some modicum of humor, right? Because the spider kind of sucked him off, is the idea. It bit him. It drew his blood, so.
So, like, your origin story is Hawk Tuah.
But this is funny because I guess this is the idea behind the show, right? We're gonna have this very informal conversation, right? It looks like we're sitting in somebody's den, I guess. Reminds me of the hipster bars back in the '90s in here in Seattle, where they would have like ratty old chairs, and you could find a corner somewhere, dimly lit corner somewhere like this.
Well, it's cute, but we must now
Move forward.
be very circumspect in how we allow people to, how long we let them play that out. And you got to play a little hardball with this and, insist on Haley and that's why it's important also to figure out your next step. So that will probably come out just during the course of this conversation.
He already sounds drunk.
It's better if it just happens organically. I find in my mentoring life.
Your mentoring life.
Yes, it is what it is, and it's.
She hasn't hardly spoken. What the fuck is this? We're almost 7 minutes into it, and everything. Look at her. She's fucking like, God, please end this. I want out of here. How do you know? cameras are on, so I guess I'm safe. There's crew back there. You know, there are other people here, so I guess it's. But she's only been able to say, yeah, well, that's it. And while he's going on and on about this mentoring and this, you know, he should have abandoned this tack a long time ago. But
Now, the next thing, because there's like so much I would love to know about being a 21-year-old girl.
Like what?
like what?
I mean, first of all,
you could.
I mean,
Well, you could just go blow a guy anyway, Bill. Is that what you're wondering about?
you know, you're adorable, you're cute. It's just the way of the world. I mean, you got the world by the balls when you're what? Okay. But like,
what is she drinking?
your day to day before this happened was like working in a. Where'd you work?
A spring factory.
A spring factory, right?
It wasn't nothing bad though. It's not like a normal factory you hear anything about. Like it was really laid back. I enjoyed it there.
Yeah, but it's still a fucking factory. I mean,
Yeah. I mean,
oh
he
my
got the bills
God.
paid. That's all that mattered.
He does interviews and he has no interest in people. You see that right there, right? Like, okay, if you're going to talk, you talk for a minute or two about this, her life before. And she's saying, you know, she seems okay. I mean, I'm actually, you know, not impressed, but I'm not, you know, I don't like Hawk to a girl any less seeing this. And she's saying, hey, I worked in a spring factory. Sounds dire, but hey, it wasn't so bad. And he's like, no, it's awful. Let me mentor you on how you're going to go into porn, baby. He has no fucking interest in people, you know? And he's trying to pretend he does. You're young and you're cute and I'm just interested in what's that like. No, you're not interested in what that's like, you know? You're interested in, you know, what that is, you know?
I didn't mind getting up going to work every day.
which is better, that or now you're in show business?
I mean, show business is kind of
Come on. Show business. There's a reason.
kind of fun.
There's a reason everybody wants to be in show.
See, and he's guiding her. No, this is an interesting situation. You said yourself. Here's this girl. She's working at a fucking spring factory. She says something really stupid and kind of repulsive to one of those dorks on the street that does street interviews. And now she's, I guess, yeah, she's in show business. Ask her what it's like. Listen to her response and then try and go farther. Hell, if you're trying to seduce her, that's what you would do. This is a guy who would never get laid if he didn't become, if he had not, had, and you got to admit, he had some talent for comedy. He started out as a stand-up, right? Then he was doing little roles in movies, He developed a career before he became a professional douchebag. But if he was working in a spring factory, God help you, Bill. I guess that's what you're thinking. If I was working in a spring factory, nobody would ever look at my pecker.
Show business.
Oh, yeah, it's laid back.
It's more fun than the spring factory. What did you do all day?
Well, so I was over quality and shipping, but I didn't have to do quality unless somebody else, like in that department, wasn't there. I hated it. You sit in a chair all day for 8 hours and like test springs that come out of the grind room. It drove me fairly insane because I hate sitting still that long. It kills me.
Then why'd you just tell me it wasn't so bad? Is why I'm saying.
Well, I didn't have to do it but once in a blue moon. Now, the shipping part, I didn't mind it because I get to get up and run around all day.
All right.
Oh,
But
All right, maybe it's not that interesting, the spring factory, but
Whatever a customer orders, like however many they want of this and this box and how many of these boxes, I got to put it all in a box and stuff like that. And I was learning how to ship them out when I left. It really wasn't that bad. I swear it wasn't.
No, I understand, and there's nothing wrong wrong with that kind of work or any kind of work. People need to have jobs, and it's great if you have a job like that
Gives
you
you
find
character.
fun.
Gives you character.
But maybe a little too much.
Yeah, maybe.
But I bet you in 10 years you'd have been kind of over it.
Yeah.
But you may have moved up by that time.
yeah, she probably would have taken another job, maybe get married, squeeze a few kids out. Bill actually thinks it would be a drag for her to spend any length of time at the spring factory when she could be doing fucking OnlyFans, right? That's his fucking worldview.
You could have been the whole head of Spring USA.
Yeah, 10 years from there. Yeah.
What?
If I worked for there,
Right.
like for 10 years, like you're saying, I'd probably been over it.
So, and this is in
God,
where, Tennessee?
this is the worst conversation anyone's ever had.
Huh?
Yeah, I can hear the accent slightly.
Slightly?
Slightly.
No, I love a Southern accent.
Well, thank you.
I like the South. I mean, I always tour in the South and enjoy it.
Got
Of
good
course,
food, don't we?
No, horrible
Okay.
food. I mean, I try to eat. I mean, all food in America is horrible anywhere. It's not just the South. But no, I bring my own food. I can't eat.
You really bring your own food?
Well, I only go for 2 days at a time. So, I guess I can bring enough of my
That's
own food. I
ridiculous.
get one meal in my dressing room after the show.
That's ridiculous. He packs a lunch for 2 days when he... No, you don't. And you go to a big city anywhere, there's always something acceptable, especially if you got means. What a fucking douchebag snob.
You can make sure that they prepare something fairly clean.
And
but-
decent for you to eat? What do you like to eat? I need to know.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about what we like to eat. Well, what I
Well,
like.
listen to him. Like, he's criticizing her, right? She's had to take over the conversation, right? Oh, we're going to talk about eating now, are we? When I wanted to talk about, the misery of the spring factory.
To eat and what I do eat are two different things. I mean, you'll see when you get older, you can still
say
look
that.
awesome like this, but you're on a short leash as far as health. You feel me?
So you eat your
What?
greenies.
Well, that kind of
I got you. I eat my greenies too.
that kind of stuff. Oh, really?
That's my favorite food to eat, like a vegetable.
Is your favorite food? Well,
Yeah.
that's rare.
Yeah. I'm shaped like a chopstick.
This is
What do
the
you mean?
most
What do you mean?
awkward interview anyone has ever done. We're only 10 minutes into this goddamn thing. And look at this set. Yeah, somebody says it probably got 600K. I think it was the Kamala Harris campaign did it for him, yeah. So he's got something down there. There's a guitar in the foreground. Yeah, because he's about to pick that up and start wailing on it, right, to impress this babe. And there's a book with his fucking face on it. There's some tissues on the table there in case the conversation gets a little too deep.
Oh,
I got chopstick legs. I eat my veggies.
that's good.
I love my veggies.
America's too fat.
Yeah,
Way too fat.
just a little.
No, a lot. And it's unhealthy and it's not cute anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, so this is, yeah.
Jesus Christ, he's like, it's so sad because what we're seeing here is an old guy trying to relate to a young person. I feel for you. I mean, I wouldn't know what to say to this kid either, Bill. But,
People like in LA, this is fairly normal, but in America, you walk around like this, and I'm sure they say like, "Are you anorexic?"
Yeah, I've been asked that a
And
few
you're
times.
like, "No, you're fit. That's
Thank
what
you.
That's what you're supposed to look like."
Yeah,
They just want to make everybody else feel bad
because
because
America's so big.
some
no, nobody's doing that. Nobody's doing that, Bill. Everybody's trying to get with her. And even if she was unknown, she looks pretty good. And they're just, I mean, that's the problem nowadays. You look that good, and you're fucking fighting the guys off. He knows that. What is wrong with him? He's just trying to work in the compliments, right? Oh, I'm just organically complimenting you over and over again, talking about how good you look.
saying
Yeah. I like how you
Like
think.
I said, he would never, ever get laid if he wasn't.
they so that their fat ass feels better being anyway.
Nobody's doing it. No, no.
So
Maybe the black girls, because they hate her skinny white ass. But no, Bill.
I eat pretty.
Lean.
Yeah, I mean,
The way she said that. She's in this conversation, right? This is like, I mean, this is like it's Thanksgiving, and you're talking to your uncle, and you're stuck together for a length of time, and this is the conversation you have. Lean, you eat lean, do ya? Looking at her. She would be looking at her phone if it wasn't a show.
purity of food is more important than like meat versus. I'm not a vegetarian.
I got to eat kosher. What the fuck is he doing now?
What is that?
What the fuck are you doing?
Somebody asks me this every week, and every week I say I'm roofing myself. It's something.
And you know that joke is still not funny, but I still say it every week.
To give flavor to sparkling water, so you don't have to have diet soda, which has chemicals in it. Apropos of our conversation about eating clean, even my soda's fucking clean. That's how fucking
Even your
clean.
tequila's clean.
Even my no, all liquor is poison.
Yeah.
What are you drinking?
A high noon.
What the fuck is that?
Okay, hear me out. I don't like seltzers at all. I think they're disgusting, but I actually like these. They're pretty good. They don't taste like...
I don't know. I think I've had enough of this. Oh, let's learn about her scam.
Today's launch day. Woot woot. My hawk.
Okay, now she's annoying. She was actually, I was sympathetic toward her when she was, because you're sympathetic toward, you know, people in vulnerable positions. And, you know, over there on Del Mar, she's this poor kid who's stuck in a conversation with a geezer. Now here she is trying to do the high energy social media thing, and I really just want to smash her face in.
Meme coin is live.
Today we're breaking down the Hawk Tuah scam.
Well, guys, shocking things are happening. Today we are talking about something that I think literally every person on the planet saw coming. It was really just a question of how long is it gonna take. Not very long was the answer, apparently. Hawk Tuah, spit on that thing. 6 words that turned a girl's life upside down and made her a millionaire for reasons I still really can't comprehend. If you don't know who Haley Welch, aka the Hawk Tuah girl, is at this point, honestly, hats off to you. Seriously, that's kind of fucking impressive. Earlier this year, the girl you're looking at right now, Haley Welch, found herself on one of those stupid social media street interview channels, and when asked to describe a move that makes a man go crazy in bed, she replied you gotta give him the Hawk Tuah, spit on that thing. And for some reason, her describing what is honestly just common courtesy during a blowjob made her into like an actual celebrity. And when I say an actual celebrity, I kinda mean it. Like, yeah, a lot of people have gotten, quote, famous for going viral on the internet, but for some reason, a reason I still don't know, people like really liked this, and the Hawk Tuah shit took over the world. To the point where she was getting paid like appearance fees, showing up to random events around the country. She got her own podcast. All different kinds of shit happened to this woman for seemingly no reason. I don't get it. I'll never get it. But as with anybody who gets famous in a manner like this one, the timer began. If you didn't know, anybody who gets famous like this overnight, like when you become a genuine overnight celebrity, a timer starts that you might not even know about. It's the countdown to when you do one of 3 things. You either 1, become a political grifter, 2, you start an OnlyFans, or 3, you find yourself part of a crypto scam. If you manage to outlast this timer, I don't really know what happens. Like, I think you might honestly just die or something. I don't think it's ever been done before. When you get famous for nothing, and that's nothing with an asterisk, something's got to give eventually, right? When your claim to fame is saying, I like to spit on dick, realistically, you can only ride that for so long, right? So when things start to slow down, you're like, shit, well, okay, I've got to do something. Now, this might be TMI, but I'm going to say it anyways. I feel like if I were in this situation, if my claim to fame was saying I like to give sloppy blowjobs, I feel like there's a more obvious career route of those 3 things I mentioned, but I guess crypto scam it was, because that's exactly what Haley Welch, aka the Hawk Tuah girl, has found herself mixed up with recently. Real quick before we get into all that though, I would like to apologize if I sound a bit nasally in this video, okay? I have been visited by the fuck you have a stuffy nose now fairy, so please bear with me. Earlier this week, Haley Welch launched a meme coin called Hawk, which I feel like, to absolutely nobody's surprise, ended up being a massive rug pull. It's a tale as old as time. A coin is created for some sort of viral moment or internet celebrity. The creators, or the foundation in this situation, hold basically the entire supply of the meme coin. They hype it up, they distribute some of it to people on the inside, and then the rug pulling begins. Now, I want to go on record saying that if you lost money to the Hawk Tuah coin, I feel like you've gotta be kind of stupid. Now that might...
I mean, you deserve it. You know, suckers should be parted from their money.
come off kind of harsh, but I mean, I don't give a shit. At some point, we've really got to stop calling this stuff a scam, okay? We're going to talk about some of the details of this later on, and a big part of this is that apparently they were reaching out to people with no sort of experience in this kind of, quote, investing. So those are the people that got preyed on, but I mean...
I don't know what you guys are seeing, but the sound is so out of sync that it's fucking distracting. I'm not even sure the sound that I'm hearing is even what came out of this guy's mouth.
I mean, honestly, still no sympathy. Somebody reaches out to you and is like, hey, you remember like 6 months ago when a girl got famous for saying Hawk Tua? Okay, imagine if that was a stock. Are you with me? Okay, now imagine if that stock had no regulation whatsoever and had no intrinsic value. Are you ready to make an early withdrawal from your 401k? I mean, holy shit, how...
It might be a total scam and there's nothing you're going to be able to do about it. Yeah, sounds great, right?
Do you hear anything like that and be like, you know what, that's the future. Now, is that the exact pitch they gave them? Is that how it went down for everybody? Probably not. But, I mean, I've just got to be honest with myself here, guys. I don't believe that anybody who was talked into investing into this shit was going to be putting their money to good use otherwise. Is that unfair of me?
Yeah, but, you know, Hawk Tua's not going to put it to good use either, right? I mean, here she is.
Sparkling piss.
I don't even know what that is. Seltzer. It's just so it's non-alcoholic?
Oh,
God,
it is.
she looks like a little kid sitting there.
It's got 4.5%.
Oh.
But it don't taste like piss water.
It's 4.5%.
You know, I think that poor little Hawk Tua doesn't have anything to say for herself. She's not at all interesting. Girls aren't supposed to be interesting. That's a guy thing. They're not supposed to be funny. They're not supposed to be witty or interesting or good at conversation. You know, they're supposed to look good. They're supposed to be caring. They're supposed to be good mothers when the time comes. Matronly when that time comes. And shut the fuck up otherwise. I'm sorry.
Alcohol? And so it's like a wine cooler?
I guess you could say like a watered down wine cooler is what it tastes like. Like this one's black cherry.
This is the worst conversation. So this conversation is falling faster than her fucking meme coin did. And look, every time I freeze it, there's something creepy going on. Once again, I freeze it, and he's going for his belt like he's going to open it up. And here she is watching with this like, oh, fuck, what's the old guy doing now? Look.
To say maybe, okay, maybe it is. But I mean, at some point, I feel like we've got to step back and be like, okay, yes, we can acknowledge that it's a horrible, terrible, shitty thing to do to run a crypto scam. We really need to start regulating this shit so these people go to prison for this.
All right, I heard it. Yeah, you know, wouldn't it be funny? So there was Bill, and he's like, you know, listen to me, kid. We're gonna make your 15 minutes into 50 years. Right? You're in show business now. And this is just days before she blows it all by scamming a bunch of people with a meme coin. Yeah, it would be funny, yeah, if that's how she goes out. But hope she gets a good payday. You know, she doesn't end up back in the spring factory. Yeah.
We continue with our special coverage of events unfolding in Syria. After 13 years of civil war, the opposition forces have declared the end of President Bashar al-Assad's rule. The opposition said Assad, who was leader for 24 years, has left the capital Damascus.
It's funny how the regular news is just never, you know, you can just scroll through these and they're all giving you the same basic report. You know. Yeah, this is, like I said, this is going to go well, you know. They don't show you the people that are hiding in their houses, the Christians who are worried about getting genocided.
Dramatic images coming in of Syrians now seen storming Assad's palace in
Yes.
Damascus. The mob is seen looting.
Are you happy with your internet service?
Breaking news, Syrian opposition forces...
We already saw you.
Now, the fall
Black
of Damascus marks the...
The Assad regime in Syria has been Iran's consistent ally since the 1979 revolution.
Yeah, so this is all Israeli, yeah. The Empire won today big time. They are winning at the moment. Of course, you know, this is all for the long haul, but right now, shut up, Benjamin. Let me just mute this. Iran is cut off, and Iran is the last remaining of the infamous list of 7 nations. 7 countries that we were going to take out, right? According to Wesley Clark, when he said, Wesley Clark, the former general, said, I think this was during the Obama administration, somebody presented him with a list and said all of these countries have got to be eliminated on behalf of Israel, and it was Iraq, it was, for some reason, Sudan, it was Libya, I think Egypt. No, not Egypt. They already had Egypt. It was 6 have fallen. Now Syria, and the last one on the list is Iran. Iran's the big one, and it's almost like, you know, they had to get rid of Syria first. You know, now Iran is isolated. And you see what's happening. The Russians are tied up in Ukraine, and they may have advised Assad. I mean, he's taking refuge in Russia, and that suggests that Russia advised him to give it up, and they're giving him exile there, you know, in return for giving up the ghost there. Yeah, Phil, happy, friendly, bearded men, different than the bad bearded men. It's funny how it's the same footage, right? I mean, you could, you know, if the voiceover was, ISIS has taken over Syria and Christians are cowering in their homes, which would be true, by the way, and then the idiots who watch this stuff would be like, oh my God, look at them, right? Though I can't imagine that these idiots, you know, and there are plenty of them in America and the West, watch this and think, oh, that looks great, right? Even though they buy into the whole idea, oh, Assad is so evil. And, you know, his father was pretty brutal. They were known for when they executed people or when they assassinated people, they liked to do it with an excess amount of explosives, right? They liked car bombs and the like, and they would just load the car up with so many explosives. I forget who the guy was that the father of Hafez. I think of Hafez Assad is the current guy who's now in Russia. His dad blew up some guy, some opposition figure, in a car bomb, and they like took out a city block because they put so much explosives in the car. That was their trademark. So yeah, they're pretty bad. But I mean, you know me. I mean, this whole idea that we're going to sit here in America or wherever, and we're going to act like, you know, these conflicts that are going on that we know we're knee deep in. We know the CIA is involved, and we know it's all guided by neocons, and you know, Israel is always looming in the background no matter what happens, right? We know our government has all kinds of ulterior motives, and it's not motivated by what they say they're motivated by, right? And to know that, and then to see, you know, these news reports about, oh, evil Putin, you know, or evil Assad, and to fall for that shit, right? And you see these ridiculous arguments people have online on X or in comment threads, right? Where it's like, oh yeah, man, you guys are supporting Putin. Do you know what he does in his country? Do you know how anti-democratic he is, and this and that? And it's like, to me, it's like I can't think of a less important, less relevant question for me than whether or not Assad is a brutal dictator or not. You know, even if our country was genuine in their, you know, when they talk about liberal intervention. And it's funny, you'll see serious people, smart people, people who've been at it for a while, experts, who still take seriously the liberal interventionist horseshit that is always just a glaze over, you know, other motives, right? But even if they genuinely were concerned about bringing democracy to Syria, say, I would say no. I mean, think about it. It's insane. Democracy is like the worst possible form of government for most places in the world. You know, I mean, we're not even making it, you know, I think it sucks for us probably, but you know it's like the worst possible form of government to take into Iraq or Syria or any of these other places where they have these, you know, these vastly different, genuine diversity, you know. They have these vastly different people, Sunni and Shia, living side by side. Sunni, Shia, Christian, right? And you realize that's what they're doing to the West. Oh God, look at
to put up with his brutal regime for far.
Why does he always look like he's been startled by something?
Allies. It's very important now that there's a political settlement, a political way forward, and it's very, very important that we emphasise that civilians and minorities must be protected in this process. But very, very pleased that Assad has fallen.
What happened in the Middle East? After 13
Are
years
you
of
asking?
civil war in Syria, more than half a century of brutal authoritarian rule by Bashar Assad and his father before him. Rebel forces have forced Assad to resign his office, flee the country.
He's going to give us a synopsis.
The collapse of the Assad regime, the tyranny in Damascus offers great opportunity, but also is fraught with significant dangers.
Heute stehen wir an der Seite aller Syrerinnen und Syrer, die voller Hoffnung sind auf ein freies, gerechtes und sicheres Syrien. Ob sie in Syrien selbst leben, im Ausland, sie alle haben in den letzten Tagen die Ereignisse mit größter Anspannung mitverfolgt.
So you realize what they're doing to the West is they're making actual democracy impossible. It was bad enough when we were homogeneous and we just had the usual factions. Factionalism as outlined in the Federalist number 10, is it? By, which one of the guys wrote that? I guess it was Madison. And nobody was thinking that they were going to fucking, you know, have racial diversity and, you know, free the slaves and have tokenism and all this other shit. And they were already talking about factions, and, you know, all those founders before they passed, Adams, Jefferson, Madison, all these guys soured on democracy and they went to their graves saying, yeah, this isn't working. Because of the factions, because of the fact that democracy just seems to be very pliable for any group that wants to take advantage of it. So when they are racially diversifying your country, it's because they know they're going to, you know, the obvious one is they're going to make you a minority in your own country, so the group they fear the most, the actual nation, the natio, right? The nation underlying the country is no more, right? So they pull the rug out from under. Democracy is how you pull the rug out from under a nation. Yeah, and then the happy bearded men come in and it's all fucking over. And they're bringing those happy bearded men into your country, right? Like Syria. Now when Syria falls apart, oh gosh, here's al-Jilani, right? They're trying to make a hero of this guy. He's the Zelensky of this story. There he is. And they pulled this guy out of relative obscurity. And of course, they've promised Joe Lanny and a couple of the other groups, so I guess the prominent groups, the groups that have been picked to lead, to become the new government of Syria, have of course promised to play nice with Israel. And that's all this is about. This is just about Israel, and this is just about setting things up for when Trump gets into office. And I think securing, placing their bets well ahead of Trump's arrival. Trump's on board. Obviously, he's owned by Jewish donors. He's very pro-Zionist. He's kind of a dumbass, let's face it. Honeymoon's over. And, they're making sure they're hedging their bets just in case Trump gets cold feet. He's not going to be able to back out of this. Yeah. Assad protected the Christians, and Assad was, they talk about minorities now. Now they're talking about what, now we're going to have to do what Assad was doing before. We're going to have to try and make sure there aren't massive pogroms and killing of Christians and other minority groups. Of course, they don't really care. And I wouldn't care either if it wasn't for the fact that we are knee-deep in this. Knee-deep in this shit.
Well, is that the same kind of thing?
Kinda, but I don't like White Claws.
White Claw?
White Claws.
White what?
White Claw.
Oh my God, he doesn't even...
White Claw.
White Claw,
White
it's
Claw.
a drink. It's fucking...
White Claw.
White Claw.
Exactly.
How do you say oil?
Huh?
Oil.
What word are we saying?
O-I-L. Oil.
Oil. Oil.
God, this is the most painful conversation ever. I think...
Yeah, okay. I'm going to rule out network news.
What's happening in Syria is frightening right now, but not as frightening as this conversation.
Because you have already a platform.
You get a quality
I
girl.
think I could tell him like the weather or something.
I got it already. No.
What you got?
You need to do a podcast. You do it right here on Club Random, if you do it my way. Sex expert. And I'll tell you why.
Oh,
wait.
God.
I'll tell you why. Because you need to, I told you you were given this chip. You were given the chip of fame. Now you want to trade that in for something that uses that, but takes it to the next level.
Yeah, this makes sense. You should be like Dr. Ruth. This is genius, Bill.
You have to trade on what you're already known for. That's the one thing you're known for. So you could do a podcast for...
Oh, God, let me just insult my guest here, right? Let's face it, honey, the one thing you're known for is blowjobs. So you're going to do a show where you talk about blowjobs. Like, there aren't all these damn shows out here. What's that one show? It's a big deal. Kamala Harris went on the show. It's a couple of attractive young women who talk about shit like this. They'll have the show. There's been 1,000 of them probably, Bill, shows about, here, how to give a blowjob, girls, right? Cosmo articles, basically. Okay.
I don't know if there's anything from somebody that age with that point of view, but it couldn't be frivolous. You have to take it seriously.
Oh, this just
Could
gets
you do
worse.
Possibly.
And talk about sex, but seriously, serious issues, because there are a lot of really serious issues. I mean, there's one that's related to what made you famous.
Yep.
What am I going to say? You have no idea what I'm going to say.
I don't know. I don't know where this is going. I'm kind of
I'm
nervous.
going to tell you where it's going.
I'm just trying to get through this.
Spitting. from porn. That's where that came. What? You did. Maybe not directly, but trust me, like that.
It is funny that supposedly she's known for blowjobs, and she's got this upper row of teeth that just frightening when you think about that.
The idea of spitting, first of all, it's gross. It's not necessary. It never existed before porn. Do you know that? Do you realize that?
Yeah.
And porn is not benign. It is not. And it has warped the minds of the kids in your generation, especially the guys.
Yeah, they come up with some sick shit.
Yes.
People are just...
Yeah, no, I know they are. People are fucking sickos. And, you know, whatever floats your arc, but...
Whatever floats your arc.
Your arc.
Oh.
You know, I visited once, it's in your state. It's the, like, museum, the Holy Land Museum, I think they call it.
Jesus, he's just
there
all
where they
over
have-
the place. It's just, I mean, you know, and half of it is talking about how shitty the South is, right? It was already the food, man. It's horrible. I won't eat it. I actually pack a lunch. You know, I'm wealthy and I'm staying in the best hotels, right? And I still won't eat the food in your shitty region, right? I bring fucking peanut butter and jelly sandwiches so I don't have to eat their horrible food. And Southerners are like into their food, right? They'll tell you, oh, we got great food. Come over here and have a... God damn, this guy doesn't have a clue. And it's funny, too, because I think he really is trying to get with her, or at least flirt successfully, you know? He really is trying to establish that sort of relationship with her where she would be, at least he wants her to yield and flirt back, which is like signaling, this is why we flirt when we know we're not trying to bang every girl, you know. But we flirt and they flirt back, and it's like they're saying, yeah, I got you, pal. Maybe we would have actually done it. And you think, well, okay, I feel better about myself. And of course, women do too. Right.
The statue, the Jesus riding a dinosaur.
Do they really?
Well,
It's
they
all this
believe that
shit she doesn't
Jesus
know
lived on
anything
the earth at the
about.
same time as the dinosaurs, which is really stupid.
You think dinosaurs are real?
Did you graduate high school?
I did.
And
Did
do
you
think they taught
graduate
you
high
anything?
school? Do you have all your teeth, baby? Jesus.
Yeah,
I mean, I know a few things about numbers, but other than that, nope.
right. It is the saddest thing.
It is. They don't teach
It's
you
not
anything
as-
you need to know about life.
Not as sad as this interview.
I worked at a gas station for 3 years and learned how to write a check there. Our school didn't teach us that.
Not just about life, but like we used to actually learn subjects. You know, like history and civics and science, and so you had a knowledge of things so that if you went out with
Bill.
sophisticated people, you could carry on a conversation. I mean, they have left you kids.
People don't exist for you, Bill. You don't even know. You've got this empty, airheaded 21-year-old girl here, you know. And just...
High and dry on the side of the road, like an abandoned puppy.
Yeah.
It's just terrible. But you know what? We're going to get you up to speed. Yes, the sex expert show. That's a good start. But again, can't be giggly. You can't just be laughing at silly stuff.
I definitely would.
You would?
I definitely would. I'm
Well,
not a serious person.
I'm not saying you can't enjoy yourself. But okay, then we can't do that. You
Okay,
ha-
that's
you-
out.
That's out.
definitely out.
But it's too
Because I'd be
bad.
sitting there going the whole time.
It's too bad because that would be a good thing because people again already know you from something sexual. So they're like they would go with that and then we could transition from that to something more broadly, you know, but again, we got to get away from Hawk to Haley. And we got to get away, we got to get to something new. So all right, look, we'll come back to it.
Okay, we'll come back to that.
But no, you
Jesus, yeah. And you know what's funny, too, is that she's actually had this conversation with people. She's probably had this conversation a bunch of times with, you know, creeps. Probably with a few creeps, just like Bill, right? how we gonna cash in on this? How we gonna make you a star, Haley? It's so funny that he seems to think that she hasn't had the conversation yet.
Your generation is so different than mine. For example,
Yeah,
mine
we're
had
fucking old, Bill. That's it, really. We're like fucking creaking into the grave, right?
parents.
Yeah, fair enough. Wait, is that a personalized joke?
A personalized joke. Okay, we're not using the word personalized correctly, but
You get what I'm saying. Is that a joke towards me?
I do get what you're saying. Anytime I correct you, it's only for your benefit.
It's because you love me, right?
It's true.
All right.
It's only because I
she's
want you to
fucking
be
with him
better.
now.
Anyway, no, I just never, or rarely you meet somebody your age who isn't at least from a divorced family.
Hmm?
I mean, the
what in the
parents who stay
fuck?
together are just few and far between. So many of them.
What are you talking
weren't you
about?
raised by your grandmother? Didn't I read that? Okay, there you go.
Oh, yeah. That's why I'm so mannersome. Like, if you go out that door, I'm going to open that door for you. You don't find that very often.
You're going to open the door for me?
Yeah. That's manners.
I mean,
He's drunk.
It's
that's
like,
beyond
thank
manners. I
you,
mean,
and,
well, usually
you know.
women don't open the door for men, but I mean, if that's where you want to go,
Well, I'm different.
knock yourself
I'm a little
out.
difficult. I hate a man opening the door for me. I can
Good.
get it myself.
Could you
know?
also move my barbells up to the attic if you got a minute?
Your barbells? I don't know how heavy are they. Let me get back to you on that.
God damn. Aren't you
but-
a professional
so your
comedian?
grandmother
Aren't
raised
you
you,
supposed
huh?
to be
She did.
funny?
And where was your mother?
Probably on the street doing crack somewhere.
Really?
Oh my God. This is
Fuck.
just.
The way these people just have kids.
Oh my God. He's going to start talking about her white trash mom, right? You think he would have got a little background on this too? Like, okay, we probably know the basics of Haktua's life story. It's out there, accessible to, your production crew. Right? So maybe you should know going in, right? Because she's from this, she grew up in a trailer park with her alcoholic mom or not, or she grew up middle class, mom and dad in the house. Now he's going to go on and on about her mom. And, I can't believe these stupid southern hillbillies having children like you.
And then get in a cab.
Yup. They say, peace. She's gone.
So what's your relationship with your mother now?
I still don't speak to her.
Is she better? Is she not on crack?
I wish I could say no.
But you don't know.
I don't keep up with her. I couldn't even tell you where she's at.
Really? And she doesn't try to find you?
Suddenly it takes this super dark turn. God, this just gets better, right? So we go from awkward to tawdry and tragic, just like that. That's why we want you, Bill.
No.
Nope. I'm fine with it that way.
Well,
I've done this long without her. I don't need her now.
yeah, good for you.
Never have. Because I got my granny girl.
Your granny. Yeah, and she raised you.
Wait, how old are you? And you're not married?
Oh,
68, never been.
68. How do you feel about an 80-year-old woman?
Oh, that's funny. That's
How
perfect.
do you feel about that?
You can
If you
get
only
with
knew
my
the first thing
granny.
about me.
What's the first thing about you?
Well, that I wouldn't be with
I'm
him.
not going to call you Paw Paw or nothing, but hey, I'm trying to throw something
Yeah,
together.
absolutely. Pawpaw, is that like Tennessee for daddy?
No, that's like Grandpappy, you know?
Oh, I see.
I might call you Grandpappy, but I ain't going to call you Paw Paw.
So
Grandpappy Bill.
she raised you. And your father?
He's here.
He's here where? What's here?
Like, he's here and there. He's always worked a whole lot, but I don't live with him.
He's worked a whole lot,
Yeah, he works a lot.
but didn't raise you.
He did.
Oh, he did. He lived with you and your grandma.
Like, I go stay with him every other weekend and stuff like that.
Oh, so he was in.
I
your,
just live with a
So he
granny.
was in your life.
Yeah.
You're not mad at him.
No.
Just the mother.
Yeah, we despise that woman
Right.
very badly.
Oh, God.
Well, you know, who can blame you?
Yeah.
I mean, you only get one mother.
Yeah.
So if that
She's got a good soul, I guess you could say, but she's just, I guess she, how can I put it? She got in the wrong crowd.
Negroes, yeah. Go ahead and say it, baby.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Kyle Dunnigan. Oh no.
You said you got 2 hours. It's 5:10.
I do, because it's like a work night for me.
All right. Well,
and this is
wrap
my
this
first week
bad
back.
boy up. Tell people when is it? When's the new season air?
Friday.
This Friday.
Yeah,
I wanted to show you Kyle Dunnigan's Bill Maher impersonation, which is pretty hilarious. And for some reason, we don't have it. I hate the way Search Code pulls up this crap now.
It's lame to ask you, but I really want you to just give me more Bill Maher. When I heard
Okay, people.
just
Here's the thing. Okay, it's everything's condescending. Oh, really?
Bill, tell me about how do you feel about Trader Joe's?
Trader Joe's has the worst parking lots. Can we get a bigger parking lot? New rule. Do we have to buy our own bags?
Yeah.
It's lame to ask you.
Yeah,
but
that's all it
I
is.
really want you to.
He's got one speed.
If that makes sense. She has a good soul. She's just,
Oh God, this is so dark and
hell, who am I kidding?
pathetic.
Fuck her. We ain't worried about her.
Oh my God.
We're not worried about her.
Yeah, I think that's the right attitude.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's
You
it,
have a
Bill.
very healthy attitude about that, which, you know, not everybody does.
Oh, it's healthy.
You were dealt a shitty
No,
hand.
it's sad. I mean, it's okay. You don't want to try and talk her out of it. You want to change the subject, actually, but, you know, it's not a healthy attitude. It's a fucking tragedy. You stupid fuck.
You could feel sorry for yourself, but I see.
I won't.
No, that's great. And, you know, you could be bitter and talking about I'm a victim, and, you know, we're all victims to different degrees. Of
But I'm not going to come out,
Oh,
my mama's
fuck.
a crackhead,
No, right.
and just
Yeah.
crying about this, that, and the other. No.
Right.
You're not going to.
I'm a victim, for instance. You know, my black hooker was 2 hours late last night. I mean, you pay him, right?
Get that out of me.
Right. And later on in life, if you want crack,
I know who to go to.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean,
That's the
you
way
know.
you got to look at it.
come on, there's always a positive in
I'm sure it wouldn't be
everything.
hard to find her.
You know, it's just you got to be careful when you're talking about shit like this, Bill. I mean, one time there was this girl at work who was actually quite cool, but she had a drug problem, and she was basically in rehab, working, but I mean, just fresh out of rehab, or she actually lived. This is in Portland, in one of these buildings where everybody's in rehab, but they're working. It's like a halfway house for people who had drug issues. And we would talk about it. She was this kind of funny broad, right? And I made a joke about relapse. And I thought, oh, fuck, don't joke about relapse, Dennis. That's the stupidest joke you can make with somebody who's had issues. But, you know, I mean, she was so, like, cavalier about it, you know. But I just thought, fuck. And he shut up right away after that stupid joke. And, like, within a week, she relapsed and was, you know, and didn't come back to work because she relapsed. And I guess she was back in, like, actual rehab. So, you know, you got to think, Bill. You've got to think. And, you know, her mom is an actual crack whore. You know, so just be careful saying, oh, yeah, you know, maybe you can go get crack with your mom, because that kind of shit can actually happen. Like when when this all falls apart for Haktua, you never know, you know. Crack might be in her future. I'm serious.
Mama, you got some crack?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, we're kidding about that.
She wouldn't share.
Right. Crackheads, they're not big
They're like
sharers.
Superman.
Yeah, they're not big sharers.
No.
It's an addiction. But that's good that you know, you can let yourself be mad, Mad is better than sad.
Oh yeah.
You know, mad is strong. I mean, not too. Obviously, you could take that too far. You don't. You don't want to like.
He's got those little skinny frog
shoot the
legs.
president's
sticking
ear
out
off.
No, you ain't gotta worry about that. I'd
Um,
probably shoot my own foot off or something before I got to that.
yeah. Do you have guns? You're from Tennessee. You must.
I mean, all my family does. I don't really fool with them much. I'm telling you, I'm not coordinated. I'd blow my toes off. Like I don't need a gun.
Right.
Yeah.
You might need one
Where do you
to
live?
get out
Where
of
do
the
you live
room.
now?
You might need one at the moment to get out of the room because this old geezer is about to lurch across the table at you.
So-
You live with Granny?
It's an hour, maybe an hour and 10 minutes, if that, south of Nashville. It's
Okay.
out in the boonies. Like if
Yeah.
you go down through there ain't nothing. You would not eat there. There's
That's actually a nice part of the state, eastern Tennessee. I spent a couple of months in the western part, outside of frickin' Memphis, which is shit.
no way you would.
I am familiar with America in that way.
Yeah.
Not that.
Are you?
No, I mean, I'm not saying I'm the guy in Deliverance in the woods, squeal like a pig. I'm just
You are the
saying.
guy in the woods.
No,
I checked
She
out
doesn't
your
know the
I just
reference.
know that-
Bill, she's never seen the reference, and don't go there anyway. I mean, let's not get male rape. Is just, I mean, well, you might as well. You know.
Like outside, when you, especially in the South and the Midwest, when you get an hour outside of the city, you are really outside of the city. It's not like where I grew up in New Jersey, where it's the city and then the suburbs.
Yeah.
So it's they of course have their own despising of each other for silly reasons. You know, Long Island thinks the people in Manhattan are snobs, and the people in Manhattan think the people in New Jersey and Long Island are the bridge and tunnel crowd. There's a lot of that, but it's not like the people in Atlanta and Nashville are pretty much like everywhere other. When you're in a city, they vote mostly Democratic. They're more liberal. But yeah, you get an hour outside, and it is deliverance time. I mean, it can be really just different, and probably, I think they would be friendly unless you provoke them.
Yeah.
But you know what Appalachia is?
Mm-mm.
No, you never heard that word?
Mm-mm.
You live in it.
Like the Appalachian Mountains?
Yes.
Is that what you mean?
Well, there's a section of the country. It traverses about, I don't know, 6 or 8 different states. It goes all the way from, I think, western Pennsylvania down through parts of Maryland, certainly Kentucky, Tennessee, where else? West Virginia. That's Appalachia. And it's known for, I mean, for lack of a better word, hillbillies.
Yeah.
People,
I understand.
Yeah, people who drink moonshine, got into meth.
They're damn good people, though. You ever met any hillbillies besides me?
Woody Harrelson.
Who's that?
Who's that?
Who's that?
Oh, that makes me
Oh.
feel better. You don't know Woody Harrelson
No, I
either.
don't.
Really? Woody Harrelson?
Mm-mm.
Oh, that is time. What a ravager. I mean, man.
I don't know anything. I'm just
I
kind
can't
of
even
here.
drop.
know.
I can't even
That's
impress
cool.
her
You're
with
not
the
supposed to.
name
It's
dropping.
not on the test yet. In a year.
Yeah.
Well, you don't want to wait too long. Another great bit of advice, I think, for anyone your age is when you're 21,
She's like, please
it
get
does
me out of
seem
here.
like the world and the time ahead of you is limitless. It's an ocean of time. It goes pretty quick. You don't want to turn around, which happens like that, and you're 30 and you still haven't like made a start with something. Unless you just
With
want to
what?
like get married
With
and have
what?
babies, which is
No.
perfect.
With what? I mean, she doesn't know who Woody Harrelson is. You better learn who Woody Harrelson is before you hit 30. What the fuck are you on about, dude?
Perfectly okay.
I don't want to do that.
You don't want to
This
do
is
it.
my prime time.
Right.
Like, I want to get out there and have some fun, you know?
Right.
See different shit. That's what I'm doing right now. This is
Sweetheart,
my first
I'm
time
still,
in LA.
I'm still doing it at 68, so you're preaching to the converted about
Yeah,
that.
there you
Okay.
go.
I never understood that. I was like, wait, there's a fun phase of life. Let's just keep doing that phase.
Yeah, there you
Instead
go.
of these going to these phases of, oh, now
Yeah,
we're married
well-
and now we have children and now.
Yeah, you never left your adolescent phase, and look how it's working out for you.
You been married?
I told you I was never married.
Never?
Never.
You got any kids?
Not to my knowledge.
No? Not to your knowledge?
No. No.
This is
I don't-
Bill's world. We're just living in it.
Exactly.
You're damn right.
Now you're catching up.
What the hell are you talking about,
But
sweetheart?
I don't find that to be a detriment, and I don't feel any need to apologize for it.
Yeah.
But also, yes, I do like my own company. Not all the time, but some people, it's just your nature. I travel alone. I like to travel quickly and do what I want to do when I want to do, and do this and not have to
other
explain
people,
it to
right?
anybody. And, looking back in
Yeah.
my life, I realized most of the stress came from being in a relationship, even a good one.
Even a good one?
Even a good one, because you're still always having to think about another person every day. You
Imagine
got to
that.
live your life and somebody else's life.
I ain't gotta worry about
You don't
Granny,
have to
though.
live their life.
Granny?
Yeah, you
No.
ain't gotta worry about Granny.
Your granny, are we talking?
She's going to start schooling him. I would just love it if, there was a meme that popped up. Hawk Tua got her Talk Tua show, right? So she gets a podcast, of course, immediately. And it's getting numbers immediately. It's like top 5 podcasts right away. It's her interviewing people. Talk Tua. I don't know if she's still doing it. And there was a meme that sprung up on Twitter, and a lot of people fell for it. It was pretty hilarious how stupid we are. But people would post these long, very intelligent quotes, or these long quotes, where it's, somebody talking about Heidegger or whatever, you know what I mean, or making excellent points. Right? Just very eloquent, erudite, long quotes, and they would attribute it to the Talk to a girl. So, and people on X, it became a whole thing. The guys would try to outdo each other with the quotes, right? And always, every time somebody posted one, there would be several people who thought, that she actually said it. And what's funny was, what I remember was, it wasn't so often people saying, wow, that's really impressive. I had no idea that Hawk Tua girl was that smart. No, it was all these prudes who were like, I don't give a shit. If she's smart, she's still a skank. I just thought that was hilarious, people.
Yeah.
Why am
We
I?
can build you a house in the backyard, and you can just, hey, what's up, every other day. We're just gone. She'd like that, too.
She's really trying to hook. That's so funny.
Wait, I'm with your granny now? Is that what you're? Is that?
So he's thinking he's going to seduce her, right? And this is perfect. This is your life, Bill. You're saying it's so great, right? You don't want to, thinking of other people. You're single. It's just a blast, right? Who cares if you're old? You're trying to pick up a 21-year-old girl, and she's trying to set you up with her 80-year-old grandmother.
I'm trying to set something up here.
I think you're barking up the wrong tree here.
You think so?
I do. I
don't think I am.
I really do.
You're pretty cool. Maybe you can get her to smoke with you.
Does she?
No, we wish you would. She's always a nervous little wreck, bless her heart. We're like, smoke you a doobie, you'll feel better. I ain't smoking that shit.
Well,
God, this is
her
awkward.
generation probably thinks it's the devil's weed or something. I mean,
The devil's weed.
They were pretty much against that kind of stuff in the South for a long time.
Yeah.
Get ready to be stylish this summer with Cuts. Most guys would wear a
What?
t-shirt every day of their lives if they could. Problem is that most t-shirts are not acceptable to wear at work or out on date night. Today's sponsor,
What the
Cuts,
hell is
has
this?
finally changed that. Cuts t-shirts are high quality, buttery soft, and wrinkle-free. That's right, no wrinkles. Unlike that
T-shirts?
chick utilizing the strength of text. Energy Performing Arts Center in Atlanta on September.
That's funny. I cut it off, but there's a cruddy joke in the middle of his T-shirt commercial about it's wrinkle-free, not like that chick you took out the other night. Oh, for fuck's sake, dude.
September 7th, and on September 8th, I'll be at the Riverside Theater in Milwaukee. That is a rescheduled date. Thanks for putting up with our broken planes. On September 28th, the Orpheum in Memphis, Tennessee. At September 29th at the Taft Theater in Cincinnati. November 1st and 2nd at the David Copperfield Theater at the MGM Grand, Las Vegas, Nevada. So I'm very curious. Like, I'm sure you've had so many offers to do so many things now that you're the it girl.
Yeah, here's one
Ever heard
more
that
for you,
term,
honey.
the it girl?
Yeah, by Jason Derulo.
Oh, yeah, it's a song?
Yeah.
Oh. Who do you listen to?
I don't know. I like country music. Do you like?
Yeah, I do.
Do you?
Well, some. Like any music, I like the good parts and not the bad parts.
Yeah, fair.
Oh, that's brilliant.
I like, I could name lots of country. I love Brooks and Dunn. Remember them?
Mm-hmm.
Are they before
Love
your
Brooks and
time?
Dunn.
Okay.
You like Keith Whitley?
Never heard of him. Put your mouth back.
Sorry.
You're just gonna start another meme.
Probably.
They're gonna
blast me and put
blame it on me.
a whole bag of
you
peckers
wish.
in my mouth.
Right.
What?
And again, we need to move past that, Haley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't want, trust me.
Right. See, there's a lot more to you than spitting on some guy's penis, honey. It's time to expand now. And you know what? And Bill, you know what? And maybe that is all there is to her. You know.
Me.
I'll try to keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, just listen
Well,
to me.
For the moment, at least,
What were we
honey.
talking about? What did I just ask you?
Yeah.
Country music. Who else do you like?
What about Taylor Swift?
I like Taylor Swift.
You do?
I do.
I liked her more when she was country.
I do too. I
Like,
really liked her when I was younger
love,
growing up.
Sparks
loved
Fly.
it.
I love that. You know that song?
Yeah, do you really like that song?
I love it.
All right. Now
Would
you're
I
getting
name
somewhere,
checked it
Bill.
or I didn't?
I bet you sitting here high as hell and you just mind your business listening to Sparks Fly, don't you? I do it.
It's happened. I mean, I don't think I put it on purposely to like commune with it, but it's in my playlist. I love it. I mean, I don't know. Look, I'm sure she's a lovely person, but the whole thing with the football player, just like, I just felt like 35 was a little old to be like, my boyfriend's a football player.
He's a professional football player. Listen, I don't like these people either, but what the fuck are you on about? You know, it's all very contrived, if you're going to say that. Tom Anderson says, imagine the audience at a Bill Mayer stand-up. Holy shit. Could you imagine? Yeah. Ooh, here it comes. Right? The South, right? You know, once you get outside of the city, man, you're in deliverances. You're going to be squealing like a pig before you know it. And, yeah, it's not like Jersey, where it's miles and miles of ugly suburbs until you hit the swamp. Yeah. Just stop it. Chris Alton says Bill Mayer tricked Goose into signing up for a lifetime subscription. Scott Munson says in another time her type would be making pecan waffles and growing prize-winning tomatoes. Yeah, I mean, it's just a fine line between, we see it, guys. Don't you see it? But the real tragedy of all this porn and all this pornified culture is you see girls like this who, you know, might have made good wives before, would have been, you know, they would have had like normal lives before all this shit, you know. And you know, that's, like I always say, that's a tragedy of porn. It's the tragedy of a porn culture, is that you can have no illusions about women, right? And all these poor young men growing up now, you know, you don't blame them for hating women. I don't blame them for feeling thoroughly dejected about women, you know, because you see, you get the impression, and it's probably largely true, that just about any woman can be turned into a rotten, worthless skank. Or not necessarily just like a rotten, worthless skank, but, you know, they can be casually obscene the way Haktua is. I mean, there's something pathetic about it. Something profoundly dull and pathetic about it. You know, It's not the dramatic tragedy of having all these slutty women out there. It's the dull, everyday tragedy of having just regular girls who, average intelligence, or, just average girls, casually talking, about blowing guys and stuff. It's just, it's hell. It's a kind of hell,
And I wear his jersey to the game with his number on it. Right? I mean, come on.
Whatever makes her happy.
Oh, of course.
If that's what she wants to do and it makes her happy, go on. It ain't got nothing to do with me.
I know.
All right.
He's going to dump her, though. You know that.
Oh, God. Now he's gossiping about Taylor Swift and their boyfriend from the Chiefs. What's his name? Yeah. Well, it's not all bad news, says Art Bell. Penny was freed. Was Penny freed? Is he out? I know that the jury was basically deadlocked on the most serious charge of manslaughter. And then the judge, in a move that people are saying the judge might not be able to legally make, the judge said, okay, instead of declaring a mistrial, he said, well, let's see if you can convict him on the second charge, a lesser charge, but still a charge that would draw him like 5 years, which would be criminal negligence or something. Did they reach a verdict on that? I don't know if he's freed yet. But, even if they convict him now on this second charge, he's got a hell of an appeal. Because, like I said, people are saying, people who know better than me are saying the judge can't actually do this, that this is a mistrial. And the judge is, judge apparently like the prosecutor, a couple of, yentas, is trying to get a conviction, And so, okay, well, try to get him on the lesser charge. Let's see what these Jews have to say.
Legal expert Jonathan Turley posted on X that this is what DA Alvin Bragg actually wanted all along in setting up a possible compromise verdict. Well, let's talk about that and everything else. Joining us now with more, Harvard Law Professor Emeritus.
Yeah, I didn't think Alvin Bragg had it in him, but that's pretty canny. He was thinking he wasn't going to get manslaughter anyway. That's a bit much, but he might get the criminal negligence and put the guy away for 4 or 5 years and satisfy his base.
Alan Dershowitz and Fox News legal analyst Greg Jarrett. Gentlemen, thanks for joining me again tonight. Important issues here we're facing. Greg, I want to start with you. At first blush, this dismissal of the manslaughter charge seems like good news. But to the point that this is what Bragg perhaps wanted is what's interesting to me. Can you explain that to the viewer?
Well, it is a partial victory for the defense that prosecutors threw in the towel on the top charge that they should never have brought, and then the judge dismissed it. But in doing so, Judge Wiley, I think, created what looks like reversible error so that if the jury convicts on the lesser charge next week, it would be overturned on appeal. Why? Because the judge contradicted his own earlier ruling that the jury could only consider the second count if they found Penny not guilty of the first count. Well, guess what? That didn't happen. Right. So now the judge is letting the jury do what he said he couldn't do. And the defense is right. This is coercive, sort of forcing the jury to convict by changing the rules after the fact. It's not just unorthodox, it's legally wrong. The judge's only option, one option only, was to declare a mistrial on a deadlocked jury and dismiss one charge during deliberations and then double down on the remaining charge. You can't do that. To me, it clearly violates Penny's due process rights. But I agree with Turley. The lesser included was there as a potential compromise, and maybe that was their intention all along.
Right. This is, for all of us, we believe this should never have gone to trial in the first place. And Professor Dershowitz, in this kind of a dynamic, when you've got, even at one point, he told the jury that it would have to be another jury. If they couldn't come to a decision, there would be another trial, and another jury would do their job. But there's no guarantee that there would be another trial. The DA could decide not to try it again. It seems, again, like there's a kind of coercion that's aimed at the jury at this point.
Well, I think it's manipulation. It's manipulation by the prosecution. Look, your commentator that protested was absolutely right. This is a case about racism. It's about the racism by the district attorney. It's racism because if the racial composition had been flipped, nobody would have brought this case. There'd be no protesters outside protesting about a black man being convicted of murder for choking somebody who was white. This is all about race, which is why, although this is an attempt to manipulate the jury into coming to a compromise verdict, I think it will fail. I'm going to predict here and now that I think the jury will remain deadlocked on the lower count because, as the judge pointed out, from what he's heard and seen on the notes, this looks like it's about disagreement between the jurors over two things: justification, was he justified in doing this, and causation, did he actually cause the death? And those issues are the same for the higher count and for the lower count. Also, if it's tried again, he can't put him on trial again for the higher count. That would be double jeopardy. And so I think the issue is whether or not the manipulation will work and we'll get enough jurors to say, well, no, he didn't commit manslaughter, but negligence, well, let's give the prosecution a victory. Remember, too, the prosecution is running for re-election, and he can't win re-election if he loses this case and also loses the Trump case, which he will on appeal if the Trump is allowed to appeal. Look, Bragg is the worst district attorney in modern New York history. That's an office that has had such great people. Thomas Dewey was the district attorney.
Yeah.
Morgenthau was the district attorney. Hogan was the district attorney. These are great DAs.
No hero of mine, but he wasn't a dummy. Yeah, and look, he's wearing the yellow ribbon for the hostages in Gaza.
And now we have Bragg. My God, he is lowering the office to the lowest possible level and diminishing the respect that all New Yorkers have for what was once a great...
You a racist. You only saying that because he black. Art Bell says, Didi, a nice video to take in offline. Good work to suss out a pro-peace fraud. Pete Hegseth and Ukraine. Is he really a recovering neocon? M. Tracy. I like Michael Tracy. He does pretty good. Yeah. He's been working with, I forget who. He did one video with that weirdo. I don't know whose success, such as it is, I don't understand. That guy. I guess he's supposed to be conservative. He's like Steve Saylor caliber conservative. You know what I'm talking about. The weird-looking guy. He's not Jewish, but he's some sort of like Middle Eastern, some other Semitic type. You know what I'm talking about. Oh, yeah. But, we have to get up in the morning because we have to go to work. We have to go work the salt mines. So, anything you guys have to say in here, please drop something in the comments. If there's one more thing for us to talk about, if there can be just one more thing. Said a Michael Tracy video. Maybe we'll visit with Tracy later. But I think he's been working with Greenwald or I forget who. Anyway. See, here he is with Kyle Kalinske. Here he is on the fall of Assad. Richard Hanania. Fucking Richard Hanania. He's like got this crazy eyes going on. Yeah, no, Hegseth is not. I mean, he's probably not going to make it. I don't care. Hegseth is just, to me, is the embodiment of the Trump administration that is forming. The absolute embodiment of it. Mr. Based, right? He's got like Crusader tats and stuff, but he's like a Christian Zionist. So he's all against the woke stuff, especially in the military, but he's ferociously pro-Israel. So his role is to come in, as defense secretary, his role would be to come in and shape up the military as much as possible in the short period of time we have before we have to go to war with Iran, And then he's enthusiastically going to lead us to war with Iran. That's the idea. It doesn't really matter who's in these roles, but whoever replaces Hegseth will be just as bad, and the policy is going to be there. It's just going to be a question of how capable these guys are going to be in carrying it out, but none of the cabinet members are going to make policy, obviously. Trump isn't even really going to make policy. This is America. This is not Israel. This is not a serious country. We don't vote for people who make policy. Scott Munson says, shirtless at the Wailing Wall, tatted as a mofo. Was he really shirtless at the Wailing Wall? No, was he? He probably was. Yeah. And, something about guys running around with their shirts off all the time is just wrong. Put your shirt on. We don't care if you've been working out. Nobody cares, right? But I think Bill Maher is going to try whipping his shirt off in front of Haktua, right? Stop trying to set me up with your grandma, bitch. Yeah, Tom says, does Pete know that the Crusaders slaughtered Jays on their way to Jew? Hey, he's got the Crusaders cross. It's the big cross, and it's got little. I actually had that on something that I was wearing at work, and I thought, oh, this is a little too hardcore. And, and I'm not really Christian Zionist. I just thought, it looked kind of provocative. But, yeah. Yeah, Chris Alton's right. That's libtard blood libel, Tom. Does Pete Hegseth know they were, yeah. He probably doesn't know it, for one thing. No, yeah. He probably thinks, that the Crusaders were down there. He probably thinks Israel existed at the time. And the Crusaders were down there to topple Assad or something. I don't know. Yeah, no, he just strikes me as an unserious guy. In over his head. It's probably a little crazy. Oh, sorry. Tom Anderson says, if a man fails to mature, he still thinks 21-year-olds want him when he's 60 plus. Yeah, I mean, I'm tempted to watch the rest of this. It's not even halfway done. But I think Bill is actually thinking that he could maybe get with this girl. And it's especially creepy because she looks younger than 21, right? Her face is the sort of face that looks younger than it is, right? And she's tiny. So she's sitting there in this tiny, pretty tiny little cute kid in a chair. It's just wrong.
Now I'm gonna be a Travis Kelce hater.
I mean, with her, it's like the Gatorade at the Super Bowl. You know you're gonna get dumped. You just don't know when.
But you gotta think about it this way. If he does that, can you imagine?
So now they're gonna, yeah. So they're finally getting traction in this conversation, and it's dishing on Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
The next album we're gonna get off of that?
Yes,
right.
I
It
can.
won't
That's
be
not
fuck
bad,
John Mayer
sweetheart.
no more. It'll
That's-
be fuck Travis.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Is she still singing about that?
No, it's just our old music.
Right, but her tour.
All right. Yeah, so apparently that is, that's the whole thing with Taylor Swift. You know, I'd never heard a Taylor Swift song, and then somebody posted something somewhere, and I went and listened to it. It wasn't half bad. I was sure she would be awful, but it wasn't that bad. Anyway, I have to go. Chris Alden says the Crusaders were huge fans of Bibi Netanyahu. They were. They watched a lot of Fox News, you know, and you know, were really hip. You know, they used to like to say, you know, that the Palestinians aren't a real people. Yeah. All right, let's go home. What's the outro song? I'm really tempted to watch the rest of that. I could sit and goof on that interview all night, but we have to go home. We really do. Silence? What kind of playlist is that? I just have to see this. 20 hours of silence. What? Oh, it's a white dot. 20 hours of silence. There you go. You know, I think we'll look at that white dot and we'll play a song. Alrighty. Just give me something. Oh, of course. Silence. Good night, you all. Thank you. And I want you to go to sleep thinking of Israel and praying. Praying on your knees at the foot of your bed for the security and safety of Israel.